Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Sunday, September 20th, 2015, around 8:18 p.m. in Berwick, Massachusetts. Sun went down. It's a clear night, and the temperatures are going to be in the 40s, so a taste of fall, only 3 more days left of summer, and it's going to be fall-like. Hopefully there's true fall season in New England this year. Apple picking and crisp air and leaves falling down. Don't want an Indian summer or a very early winter. Some news to report. Tony Romo, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, broke his collarbone. He's going to be out 8 weeks, and that's not good, but the Cowboys could do pretty good because they're 2-0. That's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is my review of Fall Brawl 1994 for WCW pay-per-view from Roanoke, Virginia. The main event was War Games, Match Beyond, between Dusty and Dustin Rhodes and the Nasty Boys, Knobs and Sags, facing off against the Stud Stable, Arn Anderson, Terry Funk, Bunkhouse Buck, and Colonel Rob Parker. Plus, they had some other great matches on this pay-per-view card. And they had one dark match. It was Brian and Brad Armstrong beating up against Bad Attitude, which was Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Steve Kern. And then this has happened on the pay-per-view, which was called by the voices of WCW in this era, Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan. The first match was for the WCW World Television Championship. It was Johnny B. Bad facing off against Lord Steven Regal with Sir William in his corner. Sir William is Bill Dundee. And this was a great match to open up the card. But back and forth, some interference by Sir William at the end. Johnny B. Bad reversed an uppercut, European uppercut by Lord Steven Regal. Did the backflip, 1, 2, 3. Johnny B. Bad wins his first television title, and this was his first major title win. And Johnny B. Bad was a mid-card wrestler who was kind of a comedy wrestler. He did a little Richard impersonation, and it was pretty good. But this was to gear up Johnny B. Bad for maybe a serious title run in WCW. I heard something he was eventually going to win the U.S. title somewhere down the road in 1995, but that never happened. The next match was a Losers Leaves WCW match. It was Kevin Sullivan with his brother Evad, who was a big Hulkamaniac, facing off against Cactus Jack. Bang bang! Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan were WCW World Tag Team Champions earlier in 1994, but they had a breakup. Cactus Jack turned heel by attacking Dave Sullivan on an episode of WCW Saturday Night. And then this was a Loser Leaves Town match. It was a okay match. About 6 minutes. Kevin Sullivan tried to use a chair, but Evad grabbed away from him, and Cactus Jack was coming after him. He was probably going to use the chair, but Dave Sullivan hits him with a chair. Evad. And then Kevin Sullivan beats Cactus Jack 1, 2, 3. Cactus Jack is gone from WCW, never to return. And he eventually goes to Independence and ECW. He would resurface a couple of years later as the Three Faces of Foley. Cactus Jack's contract was actually up for WCW. It was not going to be renewed. I heard something when Hulk Hogan came into WCW, he was not going to wrestle Cactus Jack, and that's probably why they did not renew his contract. The next match was for the WCW United States Championship. It was supposed to be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who was the current U.S. champion at the time, facing off against stunning Steve Austin. But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat suffered a career-ending back injury. He had to come to the ring and forfeit the title to Stunning Steve Austin. Stunning Steve Austin was happy. He was going to take the belt and not wrestle for the night, but WCW Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel said there will be a title match. And then in Prop 2 title contender came down. It was USA, 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 Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Stunning Steve tried to leave the ring, but Nick Bockwinkel said, "You must wrestle," and Duggan attacked. Austin beats him up. About 40 seconds, pins him 1, 2, 3. Hacksaw Jim Duggan's the new United States champion. USA, USA. This was the first title that Hacksaw Jim Duggan won in 8 years. The last major title he won was the North American Championship from Mid-South Wrestling in 1986. The next match was for the WCW World Tag Team Championship. It was the contenders, Stars and Stripes, Marcus Alexander Bagwell, before he was Buff Bagwell the Stuff, and the Patriot, a masked wrestler named Del Wilkes, facing off against Pretty Wonderful, the current WCW World Tag Team Champions, which were Pretty Paul Roma and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. This was a decent tag team match. It was about 12 minutes. Ending had the Patriot give Paul Roma a Full Nelson Slam, but the referee threw him out because he was not illegal. He was illegal. And then Paul Orndorff gives Bagwell the pile driver on the floor, throws him into the ring. Paul Roma pinned Bagwell for 1, 2, 3 to win, to retain the WCW World Tag Team Championship. Pretty good match. Then they had a skit on here about Hulk Hogan and Nature Boy Ric Flair about their feud and stuff. They didn't wrestle on the card. Ric Flair was under suspension by WCW, and Hogan wanted the suspension lifted because of the actions that happened on the Clash of Champions in August of 1994. It kind of sucked that Flair and Hogan were not on the card and stuff, and Flair wanted to beat Hogan so bad that he put his career on the line, and Hogan did the same thing, and that match was going to happen at Halloween Havoc, and the crowd at Wellington, Virginia was booing Hogan and stuff like that. And then they had a triangle match for the #1 contendership for the WCW World title. It was Vader with Harley Race facing off against the Guardian Angel, facing off against Sting. And they flipped the coin to decide who would wrestle in the second match, and it was Sting. And the first match was Vader with Harley Race facing off against the Guardian Angel. This was a decent match, about 7 minutes. Guardian Angel knocked out Vader, but the referee was knocked out, and Harley Race interfered, did the diving headbutt on the Guardian Angel, beats him 1, 2, 3. Vader faces off against Sting, and this match goes about 20 minutes. Sting and Vader had one of the classic rivalries in WCW history. It's probably one of the best WCW rivalries ever. You always will get a classic match between Sting and Vader and stuff. Referee gets knocked down. Harley Race tries to interfere, but the Guardian Angel beats Race up. And then the masked wrestler comes in, attacks Sting, and Vader. The referee gets up. Vader's pinning Sting 1, 2, 3. And Vader wins against Sting in the triangle match in the #1 contenders match. This was an awesome match. Harley Race is an underrated manager because he did a lot of bumping for Vader. And then the main event, it was the Nasty Boys, Knobs and Sags, facing off again with their tag team partners, Dusty and Dustin Rhodes, against the Stud Stable, which is Arn Anderson, Terry Funk, Bunkhouse Buck, and Colonel Rob Parker, with Ming in their corner. This feud started at the Bash of the Beach 1994, when Arn Anderson was tag team partners with Dustin Rhodes against Buck and Funk, and Arn Anderson turned heel and joined the Stud Stable. And then they continued this on the Clash of Champions, where Dusty came out of retirement to be Dustin's partner, and they beat Bunkhouse Buck and Terry Funk but like Maine and Arn Anderson interfered. And in the War Games, they got Colonel Rob Parker involved in this match, and this was a War Games that probably was the worst War Games to date. It was about 17-18 minutes. Dusty Rhodes wins by putting the figure 4 leg lock on Colonel Rob Parker, and Rob Parker submitting. This was, not the best War Games of all time. I think the worst War Games match to date, because Dusty Rhodes was, basically retired. Colonel Rob Parker was a manager. He was a wrestler for many years, but he became a, comedy manager and stuff. And, it wasn't the best War Games, but there was some stuff with, like, Dusty and Terry Funk. They had one of the longest running feuds of all time. You exactly are, you Dusty Rhodes. And that was about it. I would give this Fall Brawl card maybe a C, because of, like, some of the matches on here were, not that great. And some were pretty good. The Triangle match was, probably the best match on the card. And Johnny B. Bad, Lord Steven Regal match was okay, but, the rest of the card wasn't that great, in my opinion, and stuff. Having, like, Duggan become U.S. champion was just a big pop. And Hogan and Flair not wrestling on the card was awful, in my opinion. Having them pre-tape segments was not the best. And that's about it on Fall Brawl 1994. Tomorrow I'm going to review Fall Brawl 1995, which is even worse. I'll be back tomorrow, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, with 3 more video blogs. First video blog will be the top 10 things that I miss in old school wrestling. Second video blog will be about top candidates for the AL and NL Cy Young. And the third and final video blog, second video blog will be about Fall Brawl 1995. And the third and final video blog of the night will be the return of the personality profile, which will be about Bruins goaltender Tuukka Rask. Keep calm, everybody. I'm Julie Button Guy. Molly Rosenblatt of Fox 35 rocks and has nice legs. Amy Swansea's so cute. Elizabeth Hutt so stunning. And in the words of Dickie Ackroyd, unit director, Boys and Girls Club, Radio Bell Record, more the merrier. Bye now.